My husband told me that his sister Emma and her family would be moving in, which meant I had to temporarily move to my parents' house. This caused a huge disruption in all our lives. In response, Henry suggested I stay at my parents' place for a while. Frustrated, I asked him why I had to move out just so Emma could stay comfortably. Our 3-year marriage had been peaceful until that day when Henry announced that Emma was moving in. Hi, I'm Ava, 27 years old, and married to 26-year-old Henry. We both worked at the same company, but in different departments. Over time, we went from being friends to becoming a married couple. A few months after we married, I quit my job to work as a freelancer, managing both home responsibilities and my career. The news about Emma moving in threw everything off balance in our previously stable married life. To give you some background, Emma is Henry's older sister. After their mother passed away when they were young, Emma stepped into a maternal role for Henry. Though there were challenges at first, Emma became like a mother to him. After their father remarried, Emma and Henry lived with their grandparents before eventually moving out for university. When Henry and I started dating, he often talked about how much Emma meant to him, describing her as a mother figure who had cared for, comforted, and protected him during his childhood. Despite the complications that came with her moving in, Henry felt deeply grateful for Emma's support. This situation brought major changes into our lives, forcing me to move out temporarily while I dealt with the impact on our marriage. Henry and Emma's close bond made sense given their childhood without parents. However, sometimes Emma's motherly instincts felt too controlling. She was overly critical, disguised as concern, and had even influenced some of Henry's past relationships. Because of her intrusive nature, Henry learned not to introduce his girlfriends to Emma, and I only met her on our wedding day. Though Henry loved Emma deeply, he knew her behavior could be off-putting. On our wedding day, Emma made sure to highlight how close she and Henry were. During her visits, she would make comments that subtly challenged my place in Henry's life. Although I felt uncomfortable, I tolerated her presence on important occasions like birthdays and Thanksgiving because Henry felt obligated to his sister. I didn't mind it at first, as Henry always intervened to protect me and made sure I wasn't left alone with Emma. However, things changed when my husband told me Emma and her family would be moving in. I was shocked. The woman I could barely tolerate for a few hours was now going to live with us. I asked for more details, and Emma explained that they were moving in for a while because her son, Ben, needed a bigger room. I felt overwhelmed, but Henry suggested we set up the guest room for ourselves. Though I had concerns about living with Emma and her unpleasant nature, Henry reassured me, emphasizing the importance of family. Reluctantly, I agreed to let Emma have the larger bedroom, and we moved our belongings to the guest room. When Emma and her family arrived, I was surprised to see large suitcases, indicating a much longer stay than I had anticipated. After some polite greetings, Emma immediately began making odd requests. She asked if the bedroom was ready, saying, "We're tired from the trip and need to rest. Please unpack my suitcase and organize our clothes in the closet. Move the TV to the bedroom. My son can't sleep without it." Henry tried to calm her down, questioning why so much was needed for just a few days. But then Emma dropped the bombshell. Their house was under renovation for 6 months, and they would be staying with us during that time. Henry and I exchanged shocked looks, not expecting such a long stay. Although Henry had suggested they stay with his parents, Emma saw this as a chance for the family to spend more time together. The thought of 3 months with Emma felt overwhelming. Henry, noticing my discomfort, helped her and her family settle into the bedroom. Later, in the guest room, I shared my frustration with him. 6 months, Henry? I can't handle this. Henry understood my worries and explained that even he didn't know how long they would stay. He suggested we give Emma some time to adjust, and that things might improve once she got to know me better. Though hesitant, I agreed to try. Unfortunately, the following days felt like a nightmare. I did everything I could to accommodate Emma's unreasonable requests, from cooking special meals to taking care of her son, Ben. However, she didn't offer any help with the housework. Thankfully, her husband, Henry, was kind and understanding toward me. He acknowledged all my efforts and offered to assist, showing concern for the hard work I was putting in. I was doing my best to manage, but Emma brushed off Henry's offer, insisting I could handle everything on my own as the host. After a few days, Henry decided to stay at his parents' house, closer to work, and to oversee the renovation. Once he left, Emma's behavior took a turn for the worse. She escalated her food requests, demanding dishes like turkey, pineapple pie, and lobster brisket. Despite my doubts, I agreed, though reluctantly. Henry tried to balance his time between work and home, but Emma insisted on him spending the evenings with her. She wanted to relive their childhood memories by playing tennis on the lawn, leaving me to take care of the household alone. While Emma enjoyed meals and leisure, I found myself constantly cooking, cleaning, and serving them as if I were a servant. To make things worse, Ben, her son, proved to be a handful, breaking the TV remote, damaging the wall clock, and causing havoc in the house. Emma casually dismissed Ben's mischief, brushing it off as typical child behavior. Every time he broke something, she sighed and remarked about how kids were. "You'll understand the challenges once you have your own child," she would say. Reflecting on this, I couldn't help but think that if my child behaved that way, I would make sure they learned a lesson they wouldn't forget. As the exhausting week went on, Emma's demands only grew. Her wish list seemed endless, and the genie in me was drained from fulfilling her requests. The breaking point came when she handed me a detailed menu card with the meals she wanted for herself, Ben, and the family. She acknowledged how unusual her food choices were and insisted on separate meals to cater to everyone's preferences. Frustrated, I locked myself in my room, hoping to wait for Henry to return. Despite repeated knocks from Emma and Ben asking for coffee and snacks, I chose to ignore them. When Henry returned, he confronted me, having been informed of Emma's complaints. I handed him the menu card, and he read it with visible anger. Rather than reacting immediately, Henry calmly suggested a solution. "Let's do this," he said. "You can stay at your parents' house for a while." I was shocked. "Seriously, Henry? You want me to leave so Emma can be more comfortable in our house?" Henry, trying to handle the situation gently, responded, "Babe, just give it some time. This might be the best solution for now." My main concern was how Emma would manage to be comfortable without someone to cook and clean for her. Despite my hesitation, I agreed to leave, and Henry helped me pack my things. As we were about to leave, Emma rushed in, panicking and questioning our sudden departure. Henry explained that I wasn't feeling well and needed some rest, so he was taking me to my parents' house. Emma insisted that I could rest at their place, and even offered to help in the kitchen for a few days, concerned about bothering my parents. Henry assured her that I would stay with my parents until I recovered and promised to return in an hour for dinner together. Emma seemed skeptical and asked how long I would stay. Henry reassured her, suggesting they have Chinese for dinner, but Emma was displeased as we left. It seemed like she had just lost her free cook. Upon Henry's return, he informed me that Emma was angry when he went back home. Over the next few days, Emma allowed Ben to vandalize the house, seemingly to get back at me. Every time Ben broke something, Emma took a picture and sent it to me, mentioning the damage. Messages like, "Ben broke your flower vase," or "Ben broke your wall paintings," flooded my inbox. I chose not to respond directly, instead forwarding the messages to Henry, who was losing patience. Henry tried to address the issue, but Emma dismissed it as just Ben being mischievous. Despite his efforts, Ben continued to wreak havoc in the house. The situation worsened as Ben deliberately damaged various items, which reminded me of a past incident when Henry himself had broken a valuable Buddha statue at Uncle Daniel's house. Even though Henry insisted, Emma defended Ben, claiming it was just a child's behavior. The disagreements persisted, but Ben showed no signs of stopping, continuing to cause chaos in the house. Henry's respect and affection for his sister were clearly diminishing. Then, I received a notification that my ATM card had been blocked due to multiple incorrect PIN entries. Oddly, I had left the card at home and hadn't tried any transactions. It was clear that Emma was behind it, though the banking system blocked her attempt to withdraw money. Relieved, I sighed, only to realize that my wallet, which contained both my debit and credit cards, was still at risk. Since my credit card didn't require a PIN, I panicked and rushed to contact the bank. Unfortunately, before I could block it, $10,000 had already been withdrawn, reaching the credit limit. I was frustrated. I contacted the bank to report the unauthorized transaction and declared that my card was lost. Losing patience, I decided to confront Emma and put an end to her actions. I called Henry to explain the situation and my intention to address it immediately. Despite his request to wait, I ignored him and headed straight home. Upon arriving, I was shocked to find the house in complete disarray. Ben had vandalized the living room, leaving scattered cushions, broken toys, and half-eaten fruits. The dinner table was a chaotic mess. Emma, seemingly unaffected, was playing with her son on the couch. In disbelief, I confronted her about the state of the house and questioned her involvement in tampering with my cards. Emma, defensive and indignant, rejected the accusations, labeling them absurd and threatening to involve Henry. She even predicted serious consequences for me, including the possibility of him divorcing me for my misbehavior. I couldn't help but stare at Emma's audacious behavior as she attempted to call Henry, though he didn't respond at first. After a few minutes, Henry entered, and Emma rushed to him, hugging him tightly. "Henry, thank God you're here. Your wife is accusing me of tampering with her cards. She's harassing me and my son. Kick her out of this house, out of your life. She's a devil." Henry, however, was not swayed by her theatrics. He rebuked her, asserting, "You didn't tamper with her cards. You stole them and took the money. I've had enough of you. You're not the sister who took care of me as a child anymore. You've turned into a demon." The force of Henry's words left Emma frozen, and I too was in shock. Henry, normally composed, was visibly shaken by the gravity of the situation. "Have you lost your mind?" Henry continued, his anger clear. "I'm the one who raised you. I took care of you when you were sick. I stood by you when you had no one." He expressed his frustration, emphasizing that Emma's actions were causing him immense stress. This confrontation marked a turning point in their relationship. Emma, taken aback by Henry's stern words, began to sob, seemingly trying to escape the situation. However, Henry wasn't moved and insisted that she return the cards before leaving. "In that case, I'm leaving immediately," Emma declared, adopting a defiant tone. "By all means," Henry responded, "but give back the cards first." Emma, though, refused, denying any possession of the cards and accusing me of manipulating Henry against her. She resorted to name-calling, labeling me a traitorous woman. Henry wasn't buying into her narrative. "Enough with the lies," he said firmly. "Give me my card and the $10,000 you took from it, or else." His tone left no room for negotiation. The confrontation reached a boiling point, and it was clear that Henry was determined to uncover the truth and hold Emma accountable for her actions. The situation escalated when Ben, in a fit of mischief, began playing with the cards and broke them into pieces. Witnessing this destructive act was the final straw for Henry. Filled with rage, he declared, "That's it. I've put up with you long enough. Get out of my house now. I'm cutting all ties with you. I don't ever want to see your face again." Emma pleaded desperately with Henry, trying to salvage the relationship. "Henry, don't do this. Please, you're my only family. You can't abandon me." But Henry, ignoring her pleas, made a decisive call to Emma's husband and explained everything. Henry, unaware of the full extent of Emma's actions due to his busy schedule, was shocked by the details. He acknowledged Emma's possessive nature and admitted to the difficulties he faced dealing with her insecurities. Emma had exhibited controlling behavior, preventing Henry from meeting female friends or colleagues, and even visits from his parents and siblings triggered her mood swings. Once he understood the truth, Henry rushed to our house and expressed sincere apologies to both me and Henry. He offered to compensate for the damages caused by Ben, but Henry refused the offer. Despite Emma's reluctance to leave, Henry took charge and physically dragged her out of the house. It was a moment of relief for me, as I could finally say goodbye to Emma. With her eviction, the burden of enduring her taunts and humiliations at family gatherings was lifted. The incident quickly became hot gossip among the extended family, and everyone acknowledged that justice had been served to Emma. She was left to spend the remaining months at her in-laws' house, where her mother-in-law wasn't making things easy. Henry, choosing to turn a blind eye, wanted Emma to experience the consequences of her actions. I felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that Henry had finally seen through Emma's facade and recognized her true colors. This ordeal marked the end of Emma's disruptive presence in our lives, providing a much-needed break from her toxic influence.